Hi guys, welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to the game review for Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Everton 0. Another disappointing result in December for the Blues, just when we all thought it might be over with the fantastic win on Boxing Night to Burnley. Everton go again and go, nah, we're only messing. We're only messing. We're not going to keep winning like that. For me today, we were poor. Let me just take my glasses off so there's no reflections in the green screen. For me today, we were poor. We really were. That's the be-all and end-all of it. We weren't good enough today. You know, the chances we created, I think, for the first 20 minutes of the first half, we struggled. I think we struggled to get into the game. I think we struggled to, you know, pass the ball around, to get hold of the ball. But after that, I think from the 20th minute onwards in the first half, I think we were the much better team. We had the chances. Obviously, we had one cleared off the line. Seamus Coleman has an opportunity where he's trying to dilly-dally with it when really he should just hit it. Richarlison had a couple as well. And after watching that last sort of 25 minutes of the first half, you're thinking, okay, Marco Silva's going to go in, you give them a little bit of a team talk, and we'll come out again in the second half, and hopefully we'll carry on that you know, the way we were playing, and we'll go out and nick a goal, and then maybe the floodgates will open. But it didn't happen. We come out exactly like we started the first half. We were poor again, we were sloppy on the ball, and we just looked disinterested. Let me just tweet the stream out so that everybody over on Twitter can come and vent their anger or disappointment. I think it's just disappointment now with Everton at the minute, to be honest. You know, it was anger with the City game, it was anger with the Spurs game, but I think today was just very disappointing. You know, we should be going to Brighton and getting the 3 points, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit here and say Brighton are a really poor team. You know, we should have been beating them 4 or 5-1 like we did against Burnley. For me, Brighton are a very good team, and you know, they've been very good at home this season, but we still should be looking to beat them. You know, like we said in the preview to this game, the Brighton game at Goodison Park was probably our best game at home this season. You know, we turned them around. Today, it was a very different story. You know, I think Marco Silva got the tactics wrong today, and I know I said in the game preview that, you know, we probably should still go for a 5 at the back formation, and that's probably the way to go, because look, when you score 5 goals away from home, like we did against Burnley, it's very hard to justify any changes unless there's injuries, unless there's fitness issues. It's very hard to say, right, let's go back to a 4 at the back, because, you know, it worked so well against Burnley. But for me today, I think the 5 at the back, it didn't work again. And there's a couple of reasons why it didn't work, I don't think, and we'll talk about them in today's stream. One of them, just briefly, I think is, I don't think Garner works with a 5 at the back. I really don't. You know, I think why the formation works so well against Burnley, in my opinion, is because we allowed that 5 at the back, the 3 centre-backs, Mina, Zuma and Keane, allowed Gylfi Sigurdsson and Andre Gomez to play a little bit more forward. It allowed them to be a little bit more attacking. It allowed them that freedom. Adissa Garnagay is the type of midfielder that will come back and pick the ball up from the centre-halves. He's a midfielder designed to support the centre-halves if need be. Now, I don't think we need a midfielder like that if we're playing 3 centre-backs. We just don't, because that makes it, you know, that makes 3 centre-backs and then a defensive midfielder that's going to drop back and help out, which effectively makes 4 centre-backs, and that's not what we need. And for me, we didn't have enough going forward today. We really didn't, and the chances we created, we didn't take. I don't think we shot enough either. You know, I think I said it in my instant match reaction. If you see me instant match reaction, it's just gone up before. I said, you know, at that moment when Seamus Coleman puts that ball into the box and their goalkeeper spills it, and then it falls to Richarlison and he's offside or whatever, at that moment when that happened, the whole of our front line should have been saying, right boys, that's what we're going to do in this game. We're going to constantly put balls at the keeper. We're going to shoot from any distance, any range. If we get the ball anywhere near the box, we're going to shoot. We're going to have a go, because this keeper, he clearly isn't their first keeper. Matt Ryan's their first keeper. He's gone away to the Asian Cup, I believe. So what we should have done is we should have put pressure on the keeper, constantly put balls into the box onto him, constantly had shots, and we didn't. We just allowed Brighton to, you know, do their thing, have the ball. Their goal was okay, a little bit sloppy, a little bit unlucky, you'd say. People might look at this game and say, look, we hit the post, we hit the bar, we had the 2 chances off the line, and their goal was very lucky. It was just an off day. For me, I just think we were really poor, and we should have done a lot better. I think I've put it as the title of this stream. Marco Silva ran out of ideas today. I think he did run out of ideas. I think that was quite apparent when Umar Niasse come on, and you know, obviously Cenk Tosun wasn't involved again today. Ademola Lookman wasn't involved again today. Now look, if Ademola Lookman's injured, that's fair enough. You know, you can't play a player that's injured, but I know who I'd rather have over Tosun, with Tosun and Niasse. I know who I'd rather have coming off the bench to get you the goal, and it wouldn't be Umar Niasse, to be honest. I know Niasse can get one off his arse. I know he can get one, you know, off his head, off his shoulder, and Tosin's a little bit different, but that wasn't the game today. We weren't putting the ball in the box enough. We weren't creating enough chances to benefit a player like Niasse. You know, for it to come off his arse, balls have to be going in the box, and we have to be putting pressure on Brighton, and we have to be constantly getting the ball into their area, and we weren't today. So it was more suited for somebody like Cenk Tosun, you know, a little bit more of a discreet player to get the ball and maybe pass it about a little bit. It wasn't suited for Niasse, because Niasse isn't a player that's going to do magic on the ball. He isn't a player that's going to be able to turn and take on 3 or 4 players, and we weren't putting the ball into the box. We weren't benefiting Niasse, exactly like when Dominic Calvert-Lewin come on. We weren't using him to his strengths. We were, you know, what we should have done when Calvert-Lewin come on is stuck him up front, made him the number 9, and just put balls into him, just constantly fed balls into him and let him win one in the air. Because don't get me wrong, Lewis Dunk, big centre-half, Shane Duffy, big centre-half, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin is fantastic in the air, and when he come onto the field, we should have had him in that, you know, in and around that 6-yard box as the number 9 on the centre-half, causing them havoc, and I just don't think we've done enough today. John says 1-0 to Arsenal, 1-0 to Arsenal against Liverpool. That is good. Oh, fuck, 2-1 Liverpool. Look, I left the comments for 2 seconds and Liverpool have gone and scored 2 already. Listen, Wolves beat Tottenham today. I'm done with thinking about Liverpool. They've won the league, in my opinion, and that's horrible for me to say, and it really hurts, but I'm accepting it now before it happens, and then, you know, I end up being fuming in the next few months. So anyway, we're not here to talk about Liverpool, but yeah, today I just thought we didn't do enough. I thought we weren't good enough, and I said it before today's game, I said it in the preview to today's game, I said it in the review to the Burnley game. Look, if we don't beat Brighton and Hove Albion, if we don't beat Leicester, then the Burnley game is purely just a one-off, and it was a one-off, let's be honest, because look, it was a fantastic result. I'm not taking anything away from the result, and I'm not saying that we should just forget it and it doesn't matter anymore, because it does matter. We scored 5 goals away from home, we play very, very well, and on that day, the tactics worked. Today, the tactics didn't work, and what I mean by that game doesn't matter now is because after the December we've had, after the results we've had, we needed 9 points out of them 3 games. We really did. There was nothing more for me, nothing less for me, sorry, was acceptable than 9 points out of these games. We got the 3 against Burnley, and we've been beaten today. You know, if we'd have scraped a point today, if we'd have got a point today, you could say, okay, maybe we can, if we go out and beat Leicester, maybe we can allow a point away from Brighton. It's a tough game, they're a decent team, but you know, the pressure is now on to beat Leicester. We have to beat Leicester. There's no choice. There's no option. There's no, oh, what if we draw? There's no, you know, if we lose, it's not the end of the world. For me, we have to beat Leicester. And I don't think it's as dramatic or it's as serious as some fans may think. You know, again, I've seen some bits on Twitter today saying Silva got it wrong, he's not good enough, you know, even in just the hour since the game's been finished, you know, again, Silva wrong, should he leave, should this. It's proper premature, it really is, it's proper premature. Listen, we knew on the day that Marco Silva was appointed to Everton Football Club that this was going to be a hard task. Every single Everton fan sat back when Marco Silva come in and said, let's give him time, because look, the state that Sam Allardyce left the club in, the state that Ronald Koeman left the club in, the state that Roberto Martinez left the club in, it wasn't going to be a 6-month fix for Marco Silva. And I know fans got excited when we started getting results, when we were beating Palace, when we beat Fulham, when we beat Brighton. I know fans started to get excited. The performance against Liverpool, and no fan said, okay, we've been beaten, but look at the performance at Anfield, the best performance at Anfield in a very, very long time. I think these last couple of weeks, especially the game against Spurs, it was a team that, you know, okay, yes, they're challenging for the title, but in recent years are in and around where we are. The result against Brighton today, the result against City, it's a real reality check to show where we are and where we're going and where we need to be, but we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Marco Silva is the right man to do this, and what you have to think is that, I always go back to this point, Marco Silva's had 1 transfer window as Everton manager, and that transfer window was before the Premier League started. Now, Marco Silva wasn't to know that Cenk Tosun wasn't going to turn it on this season. He might have been going into this Premier League season saying, okay, I've got a striker there in Tosun who proved he can score at the end of last season, who's been doing okay in pre-season, you know, he's going to be my striker, he's going to be the player that starts every game for Everton, he's going to be the one that we rely on. He wasn't to know that things weren't to go well for Cenk Tosun, and that Cenk Tosun, you know, wasn't even going to be involved in December in some of the games, he weren't to know that. So I think the most important thing to realise is now, you know, watching these games and seeing these results and being frustrated, because look, we can be frustrated. I'm very frustrated. I'm very upset. I'm very frustrated at how this last month's gone. I'm very frustrated at the fact that just when it looked like we turned the corner on Boxing Day, we've again gone and put in a poor performance today and been beaten by a team that we really should be looking to beat. But what you'd have to realise is that Marcel Brands and Marco Silva will be working tirelessly to you know, to see what we need. For me, it's quite clear what we need. For Marco Silva and Brands, it might be a different story. They might think that right winger isn't a position that's, you know, necessary at the minute. For me, I think we do need to bring in a right winger. I think we need to bring in a right back. I think we'll probably need to spend over 100 million on that right hand side, if I'm being honest. I don't think Seamus Coleman is, like I said, good enough to be the player to take us forward. Very similar situation with Theo Walcott, although I like Theo Walcott, and I don't think he's, you know, I don't think he's a particularly bad footballer, but I just don't think he's good enough to take us that next step that we need to go. I think a striker is a position that we really need to you know, look to purchase, but that mightn't happen in January, and that's what we need to understand as Evertonians. Look, we've got around about 4 days or something until the 1st of January when the transfer window opens, and I think a lot of Evertonians are getting excited about the January window. I think a lot of Evertonians are saying, oh, you know, could this be the window? Are we going to go out and sign Wan-Bissaka? Are we going to go out and sign Lozano? Are we going to go? Listen, the way Marcel Brands has spoken about the transfer windows and, you know, his system of one player in, one player out, don't be surprised if we don't sign, you know, a top striker in January. Don't be surprised if we don't bring in a right back in January. Don't be surprised if we don't bring in a right winger in January. Marcel Brands is very clever and he knows football. And, you know, you don't even have to be a director of football to understand that the January transfer window isn't the best time to do your business, because teams won't sell their best players, and the players that they do sell, they probably don't rate as much, and they'll sell them for stupid amounts of money. We've seen that when we signed Niasse for 14 million, which at the time was quite a price tag. We've seen that obviously when we signed Morgan Schneiderlin for 24 million, can't get anywhere near the team. Walcott, Tosin, although I do rate them players and I think they've got a potential future as squad players, they're not starters every week, and we spent a lot of money on them as well. So it's you know, we have to understand that there mightn't be a lot of business done in January. What we have to look forward to now is the summer transfer window, and how our team looks at the start of next season. I'm just going to take a drink because my throat is a little bit dry. John says Leicester lost 1-0. They certainly did today. I think Leicester is still a very good team now, and, you know, it will be a tough result. It will be a tough game for us, sorry, on New Year's Day. It really will. But like I said, for me, we have to really look forward now. We have to get what we can get out of this season. You know, hopefully we can still finish in a European position. I'm confident that we can. If we can, brilliant. Marco Silva and Marcel Brands go into the summer, and then they can really, you know, identify what they need. They, you know, they identified it quickly with a left back, brought in Luca Dean, who's been absolutely fantastic, had Leighton Baines drop to the bench and be the second, and, you know, who knows, they might do the same with the right back, they might do the same with the right winger, they'll probably do the same with the striker as well. But what's important to realise is that we're probably not going to be sitting here on the last day of January saying, right, you know, I'm not going to be doing a game preview to the derby in March saying, right, Wan-Bissaka starts right back, Lozano starts right wing, you know, Timo Werner starts up front. It's not going to happen. You know, it's very, very unlikely that will happen. And I think us Evertonians need to understand that we need to give Marco Silva and Marcel Brands a little bit of time. We need to give them, you know, the opportunity to see what they need, you know, be able to scout players and be able to realise which players in this team are currently good enough to stay at Everton Football Club, to be squad players. If we've got European football next year in the Europa League, we'll need a lot of squad players as well. So it's important that we understand all of this. Look, today was another frustrating game, and I said it before today's game. I said it after the Burnley game. If we don't win today against Brighton, which we didn't, then it makes the Burnley game seem a lot less significant, and it does, because look, at the end of the day, you know, you look at the results we've had in December. We've been beaten by Liverpool, we've drew to Newcastle at home, a game which we easily could have lost. We drew to Watford at home by a last minute free kick, which we easily could have lost. Beaten by City away from home, beaten by Spurs, beat Burnley, beaten by Leicester. The results aren't fantastic, they really aren't, and I think, you know, it's understandable why Everton fans are frustrated. Like I said in the preview to this game yesterday, I believe we had it out, I said, look, if we don't win this game, not only does it make the Burnley game a lot less significant, but, you know, it makes what was a bad run of form. What we could have said, if we'd have won today, we could have said, okay, that dip in form in December, we can forget about that now. Look, we've had some poor games, we've had some poor results. Let's forget about that now and build on this result against Burnley. Now it's sort of looking like it wasn't just a dip in form, and that there are some genuinely underlying issues there, and there are some genuinely, you know, the players that shouldn't be involved week in, week out in the Premier League. And, you know, I think Marco Silva and Marcel Brands will understand that as well, and it's important to understand that we need to give time. The Marco Silva out shouts for me are absolutely ridiculous. We need to give him time, and we need to give him a couple of transfer windows to bring in the correct players. We've had one already, and we've brought in some absolutely fantastic players. Don't get me wrong, Yerry Mina wasn't fantastic again today. I don't particularly think Andre Gomez was fantastic again today, but overall, in the games that we've played, every single player that we've brought in has been, you know, quality for me. And you know, you only have to look at my key player there. For me, Kurt Zouma's got it. I think Kurt Zouma was one of the only ones today that played relatively well for Everton, and that's been the same in pretty much every game he's played. Even the Spurs game when we were poor, you're looking at Kurt Zouma and going, you know what, Kurt Zouma's been the only one where you can really say, hold your head up high. You know, you haven't particularly had a poor game. You haven't been fantastic, but you haven't had as bad a game as some of the others. Mess says there, Coleman out, effing disgrace. Fair enough, mate. You know, listen, I've said it before, I really love Seamus Coleman. He's an Everton legend, but I don't think he's good enough to take us to the next step. I think we do need a right back, but I don't think that'll happen until the summer. I really don't. That guy says, need to improve that right side. Walcott not good enough, and don't get me started on Coleman. I love Coleman for who he is, but he offers nothing to the team. He doesn't take players on and gets caught out. And I think that comment's spot on. I think that's important. Look, I think every Evertonian loves Seamus Coleman. You know, we appreciate what he's done for this club. We appreciate the years that he's given us. We appreciate the fact that he's been here for a very, very long time. That he's, you know, turned down teams like Manchester United, even Bayern Munich, rumoured at one point. And, you know, in his prime, and I'm talking his prime, you know, 3-4 years ago, Seamus Coleman was the best right back in the league. He was absolutely fantastic. But it's important for all of us to realise now that, you know, we can't be sentimental, we can't be nostalgic. Seamus Coleman isn't in his prime anymore, and for that we need to be looking to bring somebody else in to replace him. We need to be looking to bring somebody else in that can come in his prime and do the job that Seamus Coleman once did, exactly like we've done on that left hand side. We need to mirror the business we've done on that left hand side to the business we've done on that right hand side. We've brought Luca Dean in, who in many ways is, you know, is pretty much identical to a prime Leighton Baines. You know, Leighton Baines in his prime was scoring goals like Lucas Dean was scoring free kicks, you know, all the time. And we've brought in a player that's very, very similar to a prime Leighton Baines. We need to do that now on the other side and bring in a player that's, you know, very similar to a prime Seamus Coleman, because I don't think Seamus Coleman's got the legs anymore. I don't think he's got the stamina anymore. And like you've said then, he's very scared to take players on, because I think Seamus Coleman knows that if he goes forward, he's going to struggle to get back. And, you know, if he attempts to take a player on, whereas he used to have this, I'm not scared, I don't care what happens, because he knows that if he fails to take a player on, he'd be able to run back and get the ball. But I think he understands that he's not that quick anymore. He hasn't got that yard of pace, so he doesn't want to risk it in case he does lose the ball and he has to come back, and in which way he can't. And he'd done that a couple of times against Spurs. He went forward, lost the ball, and then couldn't get back in time. Mess says, I'm absolutely fuming, refuse to believe there's no right back in the under-23s that is better than Coleman. It's a good shout, to be honest. It's a good shout. Why not look at the under-23s? You know, Mason Holgate, there's that argument. Is he a right back? Is he a centre back? For me, I wouldn't bring Mason Holgate in at right back, because I think he is a centre back. But I'm sure there's a player in you know, the under-23s, even the under-18s, that is performing to a level that at least gives them, you know, a step to have an opportunity. Maybe even in the Lincoln game, maybe even, you know, in the FA Cup game against a team that aren't as good. Bring some younger players in, bring some players in to prove themselves. John Joe Kenny as well. For me, I don't think John Joe Kenny's ready, but at the minute, you know, you've got to look at it and think, okay, while John Joe Kenny mightn't be ready, we said the same about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I don't think Dominic Calvert-Lewin's ready, but he's come in the last few games and he's been absolutely fantastic. You know, okay, he didn't start today, but I'm talking about the 3 games prior that he started. He's been really, really well. You know, he played well against Tottenham despite the result. He played well against City despite the result, and he was fantastic against Burnley. So maybe you have to, you know, adopt the same sort of style with John Joe Kenny as well. Mess says, Walcott, Coleman, fucking disgrace out. I think, you know, to be honest, like we said already, the right-hand side is a problem for me, and it was a problem again today. I don't think Walcott is the player to take us to the next level. Very same with Seamus Coleman, but when will we bring in a right winger? When will we bring in a right back? We might have to wait till the summer for that. Logical Fun says, Martin Stecklenburg is the man Everton needs. I don't agree with that one, mate. I really don't agree with that one. I don't think Martin Stecklenburg is good enough to even be our backup keeper, and I think that's probably a position we should look to bring in somebody else in as well as backup keeper. And Logic Fun also says Denzel Dumfries is a great right back from PSV, which is Brand's old club. And yeah, you know, like I said, there's a couple of players from PSG. Lozano is that main one, isn't it? When you think about Marcel Brands and you think about, you know, players that we can bring in, it's always linked to the Lozano link is always there because of that relationship they had at PSG. Marcel Brands has come out very recently in an interview and said, look, I'd be happy to sign Lozano, but I'm not going to pay over the max for him. I'm not going to pay money that I don't believe he's worth. You know, if Lozano's on the plate for 20 million, fair enough. If PSV are looking for 60 million or something like that, I'm not going to make that transfer. And I respect that and I understand that, and I like that Marcel Brands is doing that, because he clearly has his head screwed on in terms of transfer fees and what players are worth. And I think any player from PSV, whether it be Denzel Dumfries, like you've said, whether it be Lozano, Marcel Brands is going to know, and he's going to know them very, very well. So he's going to understand what they're worth and, you know, how they can adapt to Premier League football and whether they can, like Luca Diaz, like Andre Gomez has. And if he doesn't believe they can, then what's the point in spending a load of money on them? EFC89 says we desperately need a right back and a centre forward, maybe a winger as well. Thoughts? I think it's the general consensus definitely in the live chat today. I think on Twitter as well, during the game, after the game, I think the general consensus is that we need a new right back. I think the general consensus is that Seamus Coleman isn't quite there anymore. I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks now, that we probably need to look to bring in another right back, whether that's somebody that comes straight in like Luca Diaz, whether that's somebody that comes in and challenges Seamus Coleman and maybe is eased into the squad. I don't know, but I think the general consensus is that we do need a new right back. I think, like you've said, Thoughts there, I don't think there's an argument about centre forward. We definitely need a striker. We need a goal scoring striker, and we need one quickly, because at the end of the day, our biggest issue is, well, one, we're not creating enough chances, and two, the chances we're creating, we're not scoring. I said it in the Burnley game, we had 6 shots on target, scored 5 goals. We won the game 5-1. That's what happens when you take your chances. Today, we didn't take our chances. 1 off the post, 1 off the bar, 2 off the line, 1 with Seamus Coleman where he's trying to dribble it in. We're not taking our chances. We're not shooting enough, and that's why we need a clinical striker to do that. And I think you're probably right about a winger as well. I think we need somebody to come in, maybe a right winger more than a left winger, because obviously I think Bernard, I don't think he was amazing today, but he's been playing well recently. I think he was fantastic against Burnley. And you know, I think the issue that a lot of people have is that right hand side, so maybe even a right winger as well. That guy says, to be honest, I'm not saying this is an excuse, but Everton have had the least amount of rest over the Christmas period out of any other Premier League team. Just something to consider. Exactly, and I think that's a very, very good point, and it's a fantastic point, and I was going to actually bring that up. You know, look, we've had the least amount of rest in this period of time. You know, we've played 3 games in 200 hours or something like that, and what was always important to understand and think about is that Marco Silva was always going to need to change his lineup. He was always going to need to bring players in, take players out. He was going to need to move the lineup about, and that's what he done today with Gylfi Sigurdsson and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. There's a lot of people on Twitter saying Calvert-Lewin, Gylfi Sigurdsson's being dropped, he's being dropped. A couple of people saying, you know, there's no difference between dropped and rested. For me, there is. That's just my opinion. I think, you know, Gylfi Sigurdsson was very clearly rested today. He's played a lot of football recently. He'll play again against Leicester on New Year's Day. You know, there was an argument to say maybe if you know, kept the same team today, and then if we'd have got the 3 points, maybe make some changes against Leicester. But for me, I think Marco Silva looked at it as that Leicester are a better team than Brighton. They're doing better than Brighton, so we'll probably make the changes for the Brighton game, try and grind out a win, and then bring it, you know, back to our best starting 11, if you like, for the Leicester game. But I think, you know, it's definitely something to consider, and it's not an excuse, because, you know, at the end of the day, the period of time that we've had to rest over this last week or so isn't an excuse for the fact that for the last half an hour, 40 minutes of today's game, we didn't look interested at all. And it's not an excuse for the fact that we didn't take our chances today. It's not an excuse for the fact that, you know, when we got the ball in the box, we didn't shoot. It's not an excuse, but you know, it's definitely something to consider when you're thinking about the changes Marco Silva's making. Look, he kept the 5 at the back. He brought Sigurdsson out. He brought Dominic Calvert-Lewin out. He brought Gay back in the last game against Burnley. He brought Richarlison out, and this is all because of the run of games that we've got, and the fact that we don't have, you know, a large amount of time to rest, and the players won't have, you know, that time to recuperate and get their fitness and stamina back up, and that is definitely something to consider. Not really an excuse, not an excuse for me today. I just think we were really poor and we weren't good enough. John says, I want to see Coleman back in the Irish League. Who knows? I don't think we'll sell Seamus Coleman, to be honest. I think the frustration to a lot of Everton fans, I think when a lot of Everton fans are saying he needs replacing, we need to bring somebody else in, I don't think that's necessarily to push him out the club. I don't think any Evertonian will be saying, you know, just sell him, Lee. He's not good enough, sell him. I think the frustration comes from the fact that he shouldn't be starting every week because he's not good enough anymore. And you know, it's exactly the same with what Leighton Baines was last season. He was a similar situation. Leighton Baines isn't good enough. You know, we need somebody else to come in. We need a replacement for Baines. Baines is happy now to sit on the bench and, you know, have Luca Dean be that number one left back. And I think if, you know, we bring in a right back, whether it be January, I don't think it will be, or the summer, I think a lot of Evertonians will be happy to see Seamus Coleman, you know, take a place on the bench and be that backup to whoever the new right back is, if they're good enough, looking at hopefully a Wan-Bissaka. But, you know, I think the interesting thing is I don't think Seamus Coleman will leave Everton Football Club. I don't think we'll sell him unless we get, you know, an offer that is, you know, is irrefusable. We can't refuse, you know, a massive offer for a player that isn't going to be playing week in, week out. But other than that, I don't think he'll particularly leave Everton. EFC89 says, once I saw that Sigurdsson was dropped, I knew that Garner would make the lineup too defensive on top of the back three. Yeah, and we said it right at the start of the stream as well. For me, a back three and a Garner doesn't work, and that's not me saying Garner is not good enough. That's not me saying the back three doesn't work. Listen, the back three very clearly worked against Burnley. The fact that Luca Dean was a wing back, the fact that James Coleman was a wing back, very clearly worked against Burnley. It did. We went out, we scored 5 goals away from home. I personally haven't, you know, watched the game, haven't reviewed the game, haven't looked at why it worked. For me, that was because Gylfi Sigurdsson and Andre Gomez had more time in the midfield to find passes, to spray the ball around and to be attacking. Garner isn't that type of player. He's not an attacking player. He's not fantastic on the ball. You know, he's not fantastic with his passing range. So I think Garner is the type of player that will run round, do the dirty work and pick up the ball and, you know, act as a backup centre-half, if you like, to help them centre-halves. Like you've just said then, that isn't needed when we've got a back three. So it automatically makes us one man down in the midfield, if you like, therefore making the game a lot harder to get a hold of. And I don't think we ever did have a hold of the game today. And I think that was what lost us the game. We didn't really, at any point, except maybe the last 20 minutes of the first half, have a hold of the game where you thought, okay, we've got this now, let's go on. You know, like I said, for us to start, you know, quite rough, for us to start, you know, struggling to get into the game, and then the last 25 minutes of the first half really start to get into it, create chances. I still don't think we particularly had a hold of the game because Brighton was still having the ball as well and Brighton was still attacking, but I think we had the better of the possession, the better of the chances in, you know, towards that last 20 minutes, for us to then come out in the second half and go back to exactly how we started the game, if not even worse than how we started the game. For me, it is an issue, and it's an issue that needs to be sorted pretty quickly. John says 3-1 to Liverpool, just keeping you updated. Thanks for keeping me updated. Looks like game over there then. You know, I hate Liverpool, I really do, I really hate them. But yeah, like I said, today for me, we just weren't good enough. We really weren't good enough. There's literally not much to talk about this game. It was a pretty boring game. It was a 1-0. We didn't do enough. Okay, we hit the bar, we hit the post, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day, because we didn't score a goal, we didn't put the ball in the back of the net, and we didn't, you know, create enough chances, and we didn't shoot enough. That, you know, as soon as that ball came in and the keeper spilled that ball, I was screaming for the rest of the game, shoot, hit the ball at him, get as many crosses into him as you can, hit the ball from anywhere you can, just keep shooting, keep putting pressure, because he is going to worry, he is going to panic, and we didn't. We gave him probably the easiest game of his life after that mistake, and that was where we went wrong today. I think I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks to everybody in the live chat. If you have enjoyed, please do leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Big thank you for all of the support recently. I know it was another poor result today, I know it was another poor performance. Listen, for me, we need to win on New Year's Day. We need to beat Leicester. Nothing less than 3 points is acceptable now against Leicester. And, you know, it's the start of the new year. It's, you know, it's the start of the transfer window. Like I said, don't be expecting too many signings in the transfer window. Don't be expecting too many drastic changes, because that doesn't happen in January. But one thing is for certain, is we need the 3 points against Leicester, because today it wasn't acceptable. We weren't good enough, and I think Marco Silva will have looked at today and seen that the 5 at the back doesn't work when Garner is playing, and, you know, the 4 at the back. You know, looking at the City game and the Tottenham game, conceding 9 goals in them 2 games, playing 4 defenders, isn't very good without a Disagarna either, so there's a decision for him to make there, and it's a pretty big decision. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I will be back on either tomorrow night or Monday night. You follow us on Twitter at MightyBluesYT. I'll keep you updated on that. It's probably going to be tomorrow night for the game preview to the Leicester game. It might be Monday night, who knows, but I'm going to put a provisional in for tomorrow night for around 6:30, 7 o'clock. Given that I'm home in time, I'm actually going on Toffee TV with Ped and Baz tomorrow to talk about today's game. So given that I'm home in time, hopefully we'll get that game preview out, sorry, to the Leicester game on New Year's Day. Like I said, a massive 3 points needed, and you know, nothing less than 3 points is acceptable. But follow us on Twitter at MightyBluesYT to keep up to date. I'll be confirming when the stream is, whether it's tomorrow or Monday, but it probably is going to be tomorrow. But anyway, like I said, a pretty poor result today, a pretty poor performance, a massive result needed now on New Year's Day. Nothing less than a win is acceptable for me. Again, I said we needed 9 points out of 9 in this 3 games. We've got 3 out of 6, and that's not good enough for me. It really isn't good enough. It makes the Burnley game seem a lot less significant. It makes the Burnley game seem a lot less, you know, exciting because of today's result. But we need to just put it past us and look forward, and you know, keep the faith with Marco Silva, keep the faith with Marcel Brands, and hopefully we can go and get the 3 points on New Year's Day against Burnley. That guy says, great to see you, mate, keep it up, earned yourself a sub. Thank you very much. Anyone else that's watching in the live comments, thank you very much for watching live as well. If you're watching this as a YouTube video afterwards, as usual, thank you all for watching it as well. Leave your comments in the YouTube comments section, and I'll be replying to them all night. I assume you're all as frustrated and maybe as upset as I am, but I'll be replying to them all night as well. But anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Please do leave a like if you have enjoyed the stream. Subscribe if you haven't already, and you know, I'll be back tomorrow with the game preview to Leicester on New Year's Day. Massive game for Marco Silva. Be interesting to see how he sets up. Be interesting to see how I think he sets up, because even I don't know that yet. I think we probably will refer back to a 4 at the back, probably with Keane and Kurt Zuma as the centre backs, because I don't think Yerry Mina done himself any justice today. But anyway, that's going to be it for this team. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.